So welcome and thank you everybody for coming this afternoon to Zoom Small Business and Freelance Friday. So today we have the pleasure of interviewing Ryan Jankowitz, which I should have gotten down beforehand, but thank you, Ryan, for being so gracious. So we're going to meet him. He does kettlebell training, and he's got a great story to share with us this afternoon. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to him to go ahead and tell us a little bit of background. Let us know more about Ryan.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you giving me the time to talk about myself here a little bit. So my background, I grew up in Northern Virginia, in Burke Center to be exact, which is a part of Fairfax County. And growing up, it's a real hotbed for sports, and I tried to play as many sports as possible. But I'm short, I'm 5'7", and I was very self-conscious about my body and how short I was. I remember lining up for picture day in school, and I was always like at the end of the line, which, you know, really sucked and made me feel very self-conscious about myself. That's ultimately what got me into weightlifting. I figured if I couldn't grow taller, maybe I could grow wider, and putting on muscle mass would make me feel better about myself and help me get noticed by girls. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of guys feel the same way when they start working out. Yeah, and that's what kind of carried me into college, where I studied nutrition and anatomy. And once I got out of college, I started as a personal trainer right away for a big box gym. But it was really confusing. I went to a lot of different conferences and workshops, and one conference would say one thing, another conference would say another thing. So I had all these competing philosophies and ideas rolling around in my head, and I'm trying to make sense of it all. And this went on for the first 6 years of my career. So I've been training since 2005, so it's 16 years. And I didn't really have that epiphany or that aha moment until right around 2010, when a fellow colleague of mine gave me a book by this man named Pavel Tsatsouline, to be exact. So he's from Russia, and he came over to the States probably in the 90s, and he started the modern kettlebell movement here in the US. I read his book called Russian Strength Training Secrets for Every American, and it blew my mind because it was the first time where someone had taken these complex ideas and simplified them and chunked them down to where I could apply them to myself and my clients. It was the first time I learned how to properly deadlift or squat, or how to fix a push-up, how to breathe during exercise, how to create tension for maximum strength and safety. It was the first time these concepts were introduced to me. And like I said, it blew my mind because he made it so simple. I was able to apply it that day when I was reading his book. And that got me interested in kettlebells. I was like, all right, what is this guy all about? I have a chance to meet him if I go to his certification. So in 2011, I went to what's called the Russian Kettlebell Challenge. It's now called the Russian Kettlebell Certification. It's basically a boot camp where you immerse yourself for 3 days in kettlebell training from the best strength and conditioning coaches in the world. And again, it was another aha moment where I really learned the true meaning of strength and movement. And not only did I improve my ability to perform these movements, but I learned this amazing system to coach my clients. Because before that, I was all over the map with coaching my clients. I was trying different philosophies and techniques and systems, and nothing really ever stuck. Clients saw some results. They had fun working out because I would make them sweat and they would be sore, but nothing really ever resonated with me until I got my kettlebell certification. I was like, oh my God, I understand how to coach people safely, how to coach people effectively so they actually get strong without injuring themselves, and how to help them lose weight without spending hours and hours, running on a treadmill or doing these cleanses or drinking gross shakes and eating gross bars. So that kind of opened up the door for me in 2011. And then it was kind of like going down the rabbit hole. It's an inch wide, but it's a mile deep. And I was able to really broaden my perspective on strength and movement by networking with these fellow coaches and learning from them, and just taking my knowledge to the next level. And I was running my own personal training business, working with clients in both Alexandria and Bethesda, and then COVID hits. So before COVID hits, I was mainly specializing in people who are dealing with pain. I was able to get them out of pain by showing them how to first work out with proper form, and then how to gradually increase the intensity of the workouts. Where I think most people jump right into the workout, go as hard as they can for a week straight. They get really sore, they might get a little injured, and then they kind of tail off. What I was doing was taking a less is more approach. And when COVID hit, I had to pivot my business. I couldn't really get people out of pain online. That was a very hands-on thing that I was doing. So I went toward the weight loss side of things, because I'd worked with several clients who had had amazing weight loss journeys, both men and women. And I was able to teach them how to use a kettlebell in less time, how to get stronger and lose fat and build lean muscle. So I took my knowledge and experience of kettlebells and nutrition from college, and I created my online kettlebell programs, where I now help busy men and women lose weight and get into better shape, so they fit better in their clothes and feel better about themselves. So that's kind of my journey summed up there in a nutshell.
Wow, my gosh. Tell me a little bit about what it was like to go, you went to Russia, right? To learn
No,
this,
it
this
was
program? Okay.
he came from Russia, and
Okay.
they were doing kettlebell certifications all throughout the country, and I chose one that was in Philadelphia. So I drove up to Philly from, I was living in Alexandria at the time. I live in Silver Spring now. Drove up there and immersed myself in 3 days of kettlebell training, where I learned step by step how to perform and coach each movement. And at the end of the certification, I was tested on a number of strength and conditioning tests. In addition to being tested physically, we also had to coach people. And this is unlike any other kettlebell or any other personal training certification I had experienced. Most of the time, it's you go in there, you take a written test, that's it, you get your results, or you do it online. This was, you had to perform the movements properly, and you had to coach the movements and be evaluated. So this was unlike anything I had ever experienced, and it really weeded people out, from people that showed up that were serious about the career and helping people and getting better, to people that, oh, I'll just do this weekend thing and see how it goes. So it was intense, but it was really life-changing for me.
Oh, wow. It definitely sounds like it. It sounds like you really doubled down and dug in. So that's pretty amazing. So how has it been since you've like learned to do this online?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. anymore, because I was driving to Alexandria a couple days a week and going to
Mhm,
Bethesda. And even though Bethesda's close to me, is dealing with 495 and that
mhm.
commute, and hunting for traffic or hunting for parking spots, paying meters. It was a grind. I was getting burned out. So I guess this was a blessing in disguise that COVID hit, and I was forced to go online and modify how I was working with people. And from a business perspective, it significantly cut back on my overhead, because I'm no longer paying rent. I don't have to pay for gas, wear and tear in my car, pay for parking. Scheduling is much easier. So I'm getting more sleep. People are finding it to be more convenient, because they don't have to drive to the gym anymore. They just need one or two pieces of equipment at home, and they can see results.
Mhm. So like one or two kettlebells, I guess.
Yeah, and my online programs are built on just having one kettlebell. If you just had one kettlebell and that's it, I can show you how to get into great shape and lose weight.
One kettlebell.
That's all you
All
need.
right. That sounds really cool. And then like, what about your clients? Would you share a success story with us?
Yes, absolutely. So one of my favorite clients, my friend, actually a good friend of mine, Dennis, he left a really great testimonial for me. And one of the last things he said was, the only problem now is that I'm way too small for my old fat pants. So yeah, he was very sedentary when he first started working with me. I think he was not only focused on losing weight, but he was thinking about his mortality. I know he had experienced some loss in his family. So for him, it wasn't just about looking better. It was about living a longer, healthier life. So, we started with the basics, how to properly pick up a kettlebell, how to breathe during exercise. And we just took it slow, and he learned the basics and gradually got way stronger. And as he got into better shape, he started to change his diet too. It was kind of an upward spiral for him. He was getting in better shape. He started making changes with his nutrition, nothing drastic, but just small things here and there. And after working with me, he lost 25 pounds. And like you said, he had to buy a whole new wardrobe. And it's interesting. He is in the corporate world. He's been climbing his way up the corporate ladder. He would sometimes feel kind of gross doing presentations or standing up in front of a group of people because he was overweight. He felt like he didn't command the authority that he should command being in his position. So when he got into shape, he felt much more authoritative. He felt like he could command that respect. So for him, it was like a life-changing event, losing the significant amount of weight from health, work, and kind of longevity and being happy about his body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those small things, they really build up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read recently, and I've been a big proponent of the book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and is making those small changes. So I work with a lot of people in leadership, and it's about building confidence and being able to stand up in front of a crowd, like you said. And it's just like those little incremental changes we make can go so far in our life. So sign us up. How do we get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website is rjkettlebell.com. I'm going to drop that in the chat box here.
And for those of you watching the replay on YouTube, it'll be in the notes.
And I have free downloadable kettlebell workouts. My most popular download, I have a 5-day beginner kettlebell workout program. This is for you if you're new to kettlebells, you're not quite sure how to use it in a workout, or maybe you're not quite sure if you're using the right form. I break it all down for you. I plan out your workouts. So I found that to be very successful. So download that free plan, and I think you'll find a lot of success with it.
Do we have any questions from the audience before we stop the recording? And then we have a few more people that joined. Lewis.
I did. Do you use any other equipment besides the kettlebells, or is that the only thing that you use?
Well, I also do body weight, like push-ups, lunges, planks. I'm a minimalist with how I work out myself and how I train my clients. So I don't recommend people getting all this equipment because most of the time it just sits in the corner and collects dust. I want them to use their equipment. So just a few kettlebells is really all people need. However, if people had a barbell or a pull-up bar, I show them how to substitute the barbell for the kettlebell. So there's some flexibility with my programs.
I'm in an apartment building that has a full gym, so they have a lot of equipment that's there to be used. That's what I was wondering.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I see that a lot in apartment gyms or complexes that have their own facilities. I don't believe in using machines. They're very one-dimensional. I'd rather someone learn how to use their body as their machine. And it takes a lot of thought and time to learn how to do that, but you're much stronger for it. Machines, people can just go through the motions without having to really pay attention to how they're moving. And while machines aren't part of my philosophy, I think they do serve some good. Maybe if you're recovering from an injury, where you can't stand up and do things, or you just need to isolate a certain muscle group because maybe you're doing physical therapy, then I think a machine has its benefits.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, and also if you're not having to use machines, there goes one more excuse not to work out.
Right, I know.
Well, where else are you going to hang your clothing? Your bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I know. Oh, awesome. All right. So I'm going to